My message this morning is called The Manifesting Plan. And last January I shared part of this message with you, and it was just called, Higher Manifest Higher Good, that's what it was called. And I thought for this new year that it'd be good to take some of that and reshare it. And some of you might have been here, some of you not. I'm not sure who was here or who wasn't. But I did edit it a bit, and I do have a handout for you later. And, we talk a lot about receiving and giving and how to manifest good in our lives, but we don't always give instructions of how to make that happen. And so this message is all about some tools that I've put together that can help us be successful with that. So, we're going to first look at the rule of 100. Anybody know what that is? No? Yes? The rule of 100 refers to the idea that by dedicating roughly 100 hours of practice to a skill, you can achieve a level of competency significantly above average in that area. Essentially meaning you can become proficient in a new skill by consistently devoting around 18 minutes a day to it. Now 18 minutes a day works out to, for 100 hours, works out to be almost a whole year of practice. And that's doable, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is. And so this is my journal from last year that I started on January 1st. And I wrote in it every single day, and I'm going to explain that to you throughout the message. But it started with the first page was, if I can open the first page, the plan. So I'll be giving you that. And I have to tell you, I just glanced at it this morning because I thought, maybe I should say how much it's blessed to me. Besides all the blessings that I've written down in here, money-wise, it brought about $6,000 to me out of the blue. And for the church, it brought about $5,500 out of the blue. And also, we got the year before, the IRS tax return back this last year. So it was 2023's tax return, wasn't it? Yeah, because we haven't got 24 yet, right? Anyway, but that was a blessing because we weren't sure what was going to happen there. So focusing in on the good can help bring forth good to you and out of a clear blue sky. And this is just financial stuff, but it's more than that. And that's what we're going to get into right now. So we can also take this 18 minutes a day and divide it up into smaller chunks. So you could do 9 minutes in the morning or 9 minutes at night. But it's about focusing and having a plan to be able to see the highest good and manifest the highest good. The question becomes, are we willing to focus and practice to manifesting our highest good through that amount of time? Can you spend 18 minutes a day?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You got to be able to say yes or else it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to do this. So if you say yes, great. So it doesn't matter if you are praying or you're learning a new skill, or maybe you're practicing how to do something, or maybe you want to learn to cook better. When you devote time to practice it, it makes a big difference, doesn't it? It makes a big difference if you practice. And that's what basically you do with this. You practice, and it's important. And it's important to manifest, be able to manifest that way. But when we practice, we shape energy. We shape it by our thoughts, and then we mold it by our words and actions. So, practice is helping us change our thoughts, and then our words and actions mold it into what we want to manifest. This is a principle we know and can live by the law of mind action. And everybody knows the law of mind action? Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. And see, Jesus did this when he walked on water, or when he healed the sick, or when he changed the water into wine. That was him manifesting what he knew to be truth, what he knew was possible. And we have that same ability. And I think we could all raise our hands and say that we've had that happen before. We followed an intuitive thought that got us somewhere better than where we were. Or we manifested more good in our lives. And maybe you even told yourself, oh, this is just me hoping that something is good. Me just wanting to believe that something good could happen. But when it happens, that's actually us changing and practicing and bringing it forth. And that's huge. It really is. It's a spiritual connection like no other. And we all have that ability, or else we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be here in this church or following online or whatever if we didn't believe in the power of God moving in through us. It's the ability to bring forth all that we know to be truth. And it's a shift of energy for us. It's a shift of energy when that happens, because no longer are we just sitting back like saying, oh, you know, I don't deserve this. I'm not good enough. No. We are shifting the energy into knowing, and that's huge. And a lot of people have read books from Dolores Cannon. I know Bill loved her. And I have a little clip, a short little clip. I got several clips today, but this is a short little clip from her. And here it goes.
Everything is energy, and the main lesson you're here on earth to do is to learn how to manipulate energy. And what does that mean? Create. You have to learn how to create. Once you figure that out, you can have anything. There are no limitations unless you put them on yourself. Once you learn these things, you can have anything you want in life. That's what we are. We are creators. We are manifestors.
Isn't that great? Mm-hmm. So we shape energy. She's saying we can shape energy, that everything is energy and we can shape energy. We manifested this church. You know, we did it. We shaped it. We're still shaping it. We're still creating. And we create together what we want to do. And I love this saying in Unity that has been around for a while that says we are co-creators with God, able to shape energy. Co-creators with God. So if we think in terms of, okay, I can create something. I can sit here and draw a picture and create a picture. But if I'm co-creating with God, then that picture is going to be better, don't you think? That everything that we do, if we are co-creating with God, then we are lifting it up to a higher level. So it's important to think about every time we do something. If it's mowing the yard, we are creating with God a beautiful lawn, a better lawn. You know, whatever it is, when we start doing that, then we are aligning with God's truth. And once we believe that, then we start changing that energy. We start feeling the truth that is within us. And it changes everything. Now, here's a little bit more about, and we're not living in lack of limitation. We see the abundance of all there is. So here's another little clip from a guy called Mo Gadat, I think is how he says his name. He's a neuroscientist, and he calls his brain, I love this one, Becky. Okay, here he is.
I call my brain Becky because it's a third party, it's not me. You have to understand this. One of the biggest challenges in the modern world is that we think that the voice in your head talking to you is you. It's not. If it was you talking to you, why would it need to talk? There was a study actually in MIT in 2007. They put people in MRI machines, they give them word puzzles, and they measure the activity in the brain. And the problem-solving areas of the brain would light up as long as it is needed to solve the problem. And then when the answer is found, listen to this. The verbal association area of the brain, the same area I'm using to talk to you right now, starts to light up for up to 8 seconds, and then the participant would know the answer. Your brain finds the answer, and then it's freaking talking to you. It turns the answer into words so that you understand. Your brain is a biological function. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I go to the bathroom, therefore I am. It's another biological function, but for some reason we say, I think, therefore I am. That brain, I have a deal with it. Becky signed an agreement. And the agreement is this. There are only 2 types of thoughts allowed in my brain. My brain is allowed a useful thought if it's going to hurt me, or a joyful thought. One of the struggles of losing a child is that your ego as a father attacks you very heavily, because your ego is to protect him. So my ego started to attack me severely, like viciously, telling me you should have driven him to another hospital. So the 4 hours after Ali left, the only thought in my head was you should have driven him to another hospital. Constantly. Until I told my brain openly, I heard you. I can't go back in time and drive him to another hospital. Can you give me something I can do? A useful thought. A useful thought. Until Aya came and said, hey, I had that dream, and then I had the idea of writing this model and so on and so forth. So that's a useful thought. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write what he taught me, I'm going to share it with the world. It's a useful thought. The other part of the agreement, so I said 2 thoughts. One is useful, and the other is a joyful thought. No lying. Look at me, beard, bald, manly, right? I cry once or twice a week. There is a specific pain right here, bottom right side of my heart. And I always feel, every time I feel that pain, my brain is telling me Ali died. Very painful thought. When I think Ali died, I think of what happened, I think how unfair, I think of the last moment where I hugged him in the intensive care table and so on. And I learned very quickly to say, yeah, brain, you told me that around 16,700 times before, but Ali also lived. By the way, we didn't plan for Ali. I was given 21 and a half years of absolute bliss, a blessing that I didn't ask for. As a matter of fact, if I had been asked, I would have told my wife, let's delay it. Then shows up this beautiful angel in my life for 21 and a half years that makes me the person that I am. And my brain chooses to say Ali died. No brain. Ali absolutely lived. We played video games together, we laughed together, we hugged, he taught me things. We had an amazing, amazing journey. And that's what I choose to remember. A joyful thought. If it's not going to be useful, don't hurt me. That's the agreement with Becky. And believe it or not, every single one of us has that choice. Every single one of us is able to stand firm with your Becky and say that's it. Don't destroy my life. This is stupid. Don't waste my life. Either give me something I can do, or give me something I can think about with joy.
So Mo, there's a whole longer story to it. And I'm going to go over a bit of this because I know sometimes the accent's difficult to understand. But I love that he says your brain is not you. And when we think about that, we always think that our mind has more control over our spiritual beingness, which is not your mind. If you are connected to God, then you have divine ideas coming from God. And so your brain tries to tell you things that might not be true, or gets you to focus on things that don't need to be happening in your life. And he said your brain is a version of you, but it is not who you are as a spiritual being, which is important to understand. And he said that's why we have to train our brains. We have to train our brains to not focus on the negative stuff, but and change our responses to that. He said we need to train our brains to only give us these two things: a useful thought, something we can do, or a joyful thought, something that can bring us joy. This is on the plan. I've got these exact words on the plan for you. So once you start realizing that brain, he calls Becky, needs to stop whatever it's thinking and not go to the negative area, that we can train our brains to, which is energy. It's energy, so of course we can change it. We can change it to give us something that we can do, or something that brings us joy. So if we're stressing over something, we can say, stop, brain, open up and allow God to bring me something I can do about this issue, instead of just keep churning and churning and churning. And it changes everything. And Mo came to this conclusion because of his son dying, and the tragedy that he kept feeling, and the misery that kept replaying in his mind. And he was thinking about all the things he could have done differently, could have done. And we do this sometimes, don't we? We do it with even just, if we get in an argument with somebody, we'll sit there and churn it and think, why did I say that? Why did they say that to me? And all we have to do is stop our brain and say, wait, I behold the Christ in that person. I behold the Christ in me. We can be in a different level of energy. I don't have to be in this negative, angry energy. And our brains don't have to make us miserable. Our brains can bring us the joy, give us something to do. It can align with God thought and change everything. And he was saying how he had so much guilt and shame at first, and how it was making him miserable. And every day was harder and harder. The full story goes that it was harder and harder for him to get up. And that's when he decided, hey, I don't need to have this play over and over again, and I'm stopping it. Because Ivy, his son, did not die. His son lived. He lived every one of those 21 years with him and found so much joy. And what I found from hearing him speak was the idea that even with our kids, if we're upset with one of our kids, my adult kids, I can just focus in on something good that even little kids, focus on something good that I've shared with them, and that changes my thinking. It changes how I feel inside it, and all of a sudden I feel the love again. and I don't think about what they're doing right now or what their behaviors are or whatever. I can say, oh, that's a relief. Less stress on me. And you'll feel the stress just melt off. And it's easy to do. And then, he looked at it like that was a gift he received, having his son. And I would say, yeah, it is. It's a gift that we get to have whatever time we have with whoever we come in contact with on this earth. And we decide how much time we want to spend with somebody. Because even when they're gone, we can still feel the energy of them, and we can feel the love that we shared, and remember something that brought us joy, or something that we learned from them. And that's huge. But here's something that he wrote on his website. He said, your brain is constantly rewiring itself. Are you shaping it for happiness or unhappiness? What do you want to shape it for? I want happiness, don't you? Yeah. Neuroplasty, the brain's ability to change, offers incredible potential to reshape your thinking, break negative patterns, and cultivate joy. So right there, the science of your brain allows us to change our thinking. The science of our brain is elastic, and it ebbs and flows, and we get to decide how it's going to be. He also said, learn how to train your mind like a muscle. Break free from unpleasant thoughts and focus on what truly matters. Now, this whole thing could actually be in your 18 minutes telling your brain, stop, and let's exercise positive thoughts. And we do that in Unity when we say what? Affirmations. Yeah. Positive practice like gratitude train the brain to focus on joy and abundance. You can't be thankful for something and be angry, can you? No. The minute you feel gratitude, the minute you feel thankful, you feel the joy, and you know that there's more of that good coming forth for you, which is huge. Negative habits like consuming distressing news strengthen neural pathways for fear and despair. So it's a counteraction of the good you're doing when you start stressing. Those patterns, you might have healed those patterns, and they're going like this in your brain, and then all of a sudden you start focusing on something negative or not good or whatever you want to call it, and then all of a sudden those pathways that you have made to bring you joy all of a sudden have a split in them or a break in them, and now you have to go back and bring that back together. And is it doable? Yes, it's doable, but we have to start paying attention and not letting ourselves go to that place. Modern society often trains the brain to focus on negativity, leading to habitual unhappiness. How many commercials on TV, we already know you're in the news, but how many commercials on TV now focus on something bad before they give you anything good? Or they might show something good, get your attention, and then all of a sudden they start talking about, colon cancer or whatever it is. I mean, it just goes. It just like boom, you're in the negativity. So we have to be able to see that anything that we're watching or seeing, we don't have to go there. Even when a doctor tells you something, you don't have to go there. You don't have to say, that's going to take me down. No. Scientists suggest it takes 21 days to begin forming new neural pathways and feel a difference. And we know this. Most people have heard this before, 21 days. So listen, if your plan, if the manifesting plan is 18 minutes a day for 100 days, or 100 hours, which is almost a year, the first 21 days might be the toughest ones to get on a schedule with it. But at the same time, you're going to feel, we're back to feeling, you're going to feel so much joy that you'll want to keep it going. And just remember, if you get in there and you've been doing it for a few months and you slack off a few days, you tell yourself, oh, the 21 days, I can do this again for 21 days. So it kind of jump starts you back into it. And it's good to remember that because they've proven that your brain can do that. So scientifically, we know that. And all we have to do is keep telling our brain, give me a useful thought or give me something that can bring me joy. And that changes everything. So the next suggestion, and his was the longest recording I had. The rest of these are like 30 seconds or so. But this one is from a woman who got very intentional about what she wanted.
Well, me and my boyfriend recently manifested everything that we've been wanting, wrote all of our manifestations down on a piece of paper, said them in the present tense. I have more money than I know what to do with. I have the best relationship. I have the best health. Put it on a piece of paper. I have more money than I know what to do with. I have the best relationship I've ever had. I'm not kidding. 10 months later, every single box is checked.
What?
We are having literally the best year of our lives. Best relationship, best health, biggest financial year.
So, writing I am statements or I have statements is really huge. And that's what you want to do when you first start writing the manifesting plan. You want to start, I've got the plan right here, and then my first pages are things that I put down in these 2 pages are what I put down, like I am intelligent, I have intelligence. I did both. I did an affirmation and the idea that I have it right here, right now. And I did that with my health, I did that with my loved ones, I did that with, I have the perfect husband who loves and respects me. I have all of these. I mean, in the church, we have an overflowing congregation that loves our messages, and community, family, which supplies all the financial abundance for all of us to get paid, well, for us to get paid fairly, and all of us to get what we need and want, and to serve our community and county. We have people who are loving, kind, caring, sharing, and supportive of us and each other. I've written this down and read it every day for a year, and I'm not done. I'm reading it every single day because I know it is manifesting things in our lives, and it's huge. It's so positive. So she said to make sure, she wrote down all the things she wanted to manifest in present tense, not like someday I want to have, or, tomorrow I'm going to get. No, we're not going there. She said, I have more money than I know what to do with. I have the best relationship. I have all the money I need. I have the best health. She wrote those things down in that, and this is in the plan. But you free yourself from any negative tethers when you start affirming for yourself, when you start believing and feeling that this is possible for you. It's another way to change what you have. Now, you have to think about this a minute, because you don't want to say, I want the house, hold on, I wrote it so I wouldn't forget. I want the house at 3294 Creekside Court and no other. We don't write things like that, because what we're doing is limiting and blocking our good. But we can say this. We can say, I am living in the perfect home for either me or for my family with the right amount of space for, and then in that blank, you can write whatever it is that you need. A spacious kitchen, a perfect working stove, a swimming pool for all of us to play in, or whatever trips your trigger. You can list those things and yet be open to what they are, because it's not about just narrowing it down so tight that you're choking off the universe, that you're choking off the good God wants to have for you. You look at it like, hey, I know the perfect thing is out there. That perfect thing is waiting for me, and all it's going to do is come forward. So how do we focus on this newfound path? This is from Christina Kuzmic, and I like this. There you go. Just remember, the universe, God is here to bring forth your highest good, which might not be the perfect thing in your mind, but but I guarantee you it will be better. Because if you stay open and allow that to happen, you will feel it and you will know it, and God will bring it forth. And it will be the highest good. So this is Christina.
I want to tell you something that I did some years back that, and I don't mean to be dramatic, but actually changed me for the better. I decided for one entire year, every single evening, I would write down one good thing that happened that day. It had to be something very specific, so not like a general gratitude journal. One good thing that happened that day. And so it started off great. I'm writing stuff down. I did it in the notes section of my phone every evening. And then things got a little rough a few days, but I could still find something good. And then one day in May, I miscarried twins. And I had to have the really painful procedure, and I was physically in pain. I was absolutely emotionally devastated. Then I had to come home and tell my older children, who already knew that I was pregnant, and they were so excited about it, that this happened. And I remember laying in bed that night and being like, I'm not playing that stupid game. I had nothing that happened today. Nothing that happened. But I promised myself I would do it. So I picked up my phone, and the only thing I could come up with is there was something about the way my husband tucked me into bed after bringing me back from the hospital that made me feel really loved. And I wrote that down. And can you imagine if I hadn't been doing this exercise, I would have just fallen asleep with just all this negativity, but instead I fell asleep feeling I am loved. I'm loved. So I encourage you to try that for a year. Not every day is good, but there's good in every day. Find it and write it down.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
And that's the thing, when you're practicing something, it's easier to keep practicing and keep doing. And she used her phone, which is another good place to write it down. You can get a journal and write it down, or I had my calendar opened up the other day when I was rereading this, and I thought, man, those little squares are perfect to write down that one good thing. And we still got some back there, so you could use get a calendar just for that particular thing. And it's got those good affirmations in there and Bible quotes, so it reaffirms for you a little spiritual path to go on. But the other thing about this, what she's saying is that you want to not just do a general statement. You don't want to just say, oh, I had a good day, or I had fun, or whatever. You want to be specific. You want to say, and the hard part is, you want to write down everything that happened that day. You know, like if there's like 5 things you think, oh, I'm going to write them all down. But no, focus in on the one that brought you the most joy. Focus in on that highest good, because that's what we're trying to rewire our brains with, is the idea that the highest good is there. And she, you know, having that experience, her feeling like, you know, she wasn't going to do this. This was not a good day. There was nothing good that happened from this day. But then when she got home and she was thinking about it, she remembered that the good thing that happened was the way her husband tucked her in bed when they came home from the hospital, and she truly felt the love. Excuse me. And that was healing for her. That was a place in her life that she could feel the goodness of God right there. And it's important. And Christina suggests that we lock in the good by writing down the one good thing that happened, and to be specific. Not every day is good, but there will be good in every day. And I think that's a powerful statement right there. We just have to remember that no matter what is happening around us, there's good in every day. We just have to stay and let our mind stay on that idea that the good is there. And when we find the good news is we will feel it. And the feeling is so powerful. What is happening for me lately is, and I told Reverend Warren this a couple weeks ago, we were just driving down the street, and I said, he goes, what are you smiling for? And I said, because I'm just feeling so much joy. And he says, about what? And I said, oh, nothing. I'm just feeling joyful inside. You know, do you ever have those moments or days where you just are happy and you just feel good? I mean, that's what I was feeling. I said, I want more days like that. And so I have. I have been having more days where I can just, or moments even, where I feel the joy. And that changes a lot of things. I mean, it changes your next move in life of whatever is going to happen. And it's cool. It's such a cool feeling. And so this guy is Dr. Paul Winters, and he has a site called Manifestation of Your Dreams. And this is like 40 seconds is all I've got of this, but he talks about this very thing.
Imagine if today somebody gave you a check for $1 million and you went to deposit it at your bank, and the bank said, okay, great, like this will clear in the next 10 business days because it's a big check and the bank has to work it out. So now for those following business days, you'd be walking around with this high energy outputting into the universe of you feeling wealthy and abundant and happy and excited and satisfied. And as a result, living from that level of energy would produce all these other experiences that are on that level of excitement and abundance and prosperity, right? Even those who don't have $1 to spend yet, you'd just be walking around all that time knowing, right? It's a knowing, it's not even like hoping anymore, because you know that the funds are going to be released on that certain day or whatever.
So, isn't that cool? And so, I love this because he talks more about the feeling than the actual writing them down. And I think that's important because he shared about the feeling we have when we know good is in our lives. And when we know, that's actually faith in action. So the minute we start knowing that the good is coming forth, like him saying that about the $1 million, you know the $1 million is coming in. Why not think that every single day? why not say to yourself, hey, $1 million might show up in my account today. I'm just going to feel that joy that I would have thinking that there's no stress or worry. When we are no longer hoping, but we are knowing, that's what faith is. That knowing is faith, and the feeling reassures us of the manifestation that is happening. Faith is that idea that we know the good is going to happen. And so when we affirm, I have something or I am something, we will know. Beyond knowing, I like to say, know beyond knowing. We can get excited and joy-filled because we know our good is here now. It is a vibrational match of energy to other people experience this kind of joy. The joy that I said I've been feeling lately, I'm sending that out. The energy of my mind and my heart and my soul are sending that energy out and connecting with other people feeling that joy. And together we are making a more joy-filled world. And I think about kids, feeling joy when they're out there playing and just, burning energy and stuff. I can tap into that joy, and I can know that that joy can surround my world, surround my life, and I can live from that place. It's huge. It is don't let the doubt, he also says, don't let the doubt steal the good seed we have planted. Water the good seed, and manifestations will follow. So do not let doubt or worry get in there. Whoops, that's playing. Hold on. I thought there was one more slide in there. Oh, there it is. It's a vibrational match of energy to other people experiencing this kind of joy. And it's important for our brains to feel that, for us to be able to say, brain, give me something joy-filled. And the more we get joy-filled thoughts, the more we're going to feel the joy, the more it's going to take us on that. And we're going to activate that feeling more and more in our lives. And we don't have to let any doubt steal that good. That's what he's saying there. And so this plan I have for you is, I've got the copies in the offering bowls, and you'll be able to take one when Clyde passes those around. And take extras if you want, and share them with some people you know. On the back side it says Unity Church of Rockdale, so hopefully it will encourage them to come. But here's the plan. It's all on that sheet. The plan. We begin with committing to 18 minutes a day of practice. Everybody commit to that? Yay, yay? Then we believe and know that we co-create our reality with God by our thoughts, words, and actions. Believe and know. That means faith. We have faith that we are co-creating with God, right? Right. Everybody agree to that? True? Next, we stop the nonsense chatter in our brain that we can do nothing about. So if something pops up that we can not, and I'm not saying, I got to pay this bill, it's stressing me out, blah, blah, blah. No. You need to stop that chatter too. You need to say, that bill will be paid in the perfect way at the perfect time. Anything that pops up, you can turn it around and tap into that feeling and energy of the universe. Trust me. We reprogram our brain to give us a useful thought. This is what he said, something we can do, or a joyful thought, something that can bring us joy. And this opens up a space for us to practice. So once we're working on retraining our brain, and once we're focusing in on the good and what we can do and the joy that's going to come forth, we start to practice. And our practice is this. We write down everything we want in the present tense using I have statements or I am statements, and we read them daily. Read them daily. I'm not kidding you. Start your, if you need to, if you're going to use the calendar, stick a piece of paper in there with what you wrote. Paste it in there. Read that every day before you write down your one good thing. Okay? And every night we write down with gratitude a specific good thing about the day. One specific thing is all you have to write. Okay? It's easy peasy. But when you read what you've written, what you want to manifest in your life, and you read and you write your statement, you could easily have spent, 8 minutes or something like that doing that, which is cool. It's like, okay, I've already spent, 8 or 9 minutes doing what I need to do every single day. Do it in the morning, do it at night. Pick up your daily word and read that while you're there. Then you're focusing that practice on positive. Then we engage our feelings. We feel the importance of knowing, which is activating faith. You see, faith is the believing, but the feeling is the knowing. So we are activating those feelings, and the feeling is huge. That changes everything. I mean, when you're happy, don't you feel healthy and good? I mean, when I'm happy and I'm feeling that joy, I feel like I'm back to being whatever, 50 years old, 40 years old, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It changes how you're thinking about this now moment. And it's weird, but it's the truth. We plant the seeds of good and water them when we do not let doubt steal away the good. Through the manifesting the highest good is ours and only 18 minutes a day away from being successful in our lives. Can we commit to this?
Yes.
Well, I think it's important for us to please take this spiritual journey together by using this plan to manifest the highest good for all. Thank you for being here tonight. All right, and I've got a song for us. Here we go. It's called Good Day.